Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Self-Discovery Mediums right here at selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Barbara Bandel. We're going to be talking not only about her new book, The Most Memorable Psychic Readings and Personal Stories, but we're going to be talking about the fact that she's an award-winning psychic medium, and she serves her sixth sense and out-of-the-body experiences and future predictions for the new year by examining photos. This is really intriguing, isn't it? She says, what I like to discover is at a young age was most people think you're crazy, a witch, or worse. I know, done, have been there. And so at the age of 7, schoolgirl Barbara was shocked to learn that not everyone clearly saw or felt or heard the things that she did. And after she had a schoolmate, she and a schoolmate were nearly lured into a car by a child predator, the police told her that her sixth sense likely saved their lives. Eventually, Barbara got past the feeling of misunderstood, insecure, and afraid of what she saw, and embraced the ability to communicate with spirit guides who speak to her directly from the other side. And she's used her gift for decades now to help people worldwide as an internationally respected psychic medium. And her spirit guides share the valuable and indisputable information that she passes on between the spirit world and our own aura. I hear you, my dear. I hear you. I used to play with dead people, and why couldn't anybody else see them? Why couldn't anybody else hear them? And as a young child, I just didn't get it. And so I know the
Yeah,
feeling of being ostracized or just considered different or damaged because of it, because we are kind of between both worlds, and one world is a little
yeah.
stronger than the other, isn't it? The
Yes.
psychic world. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sarah. What a wonderful introduction.
Oh, my pleasure. Uh, it's Sixth Sense. A lot of people think it's the movie, but
No.
everybody has that sixth sense. It's just some people are
Yes.
more in tune to it than others. And I say
Yes.
that everybody is born with a gift. It's up to us to discover what it is. And that is our meaningful purpose. That is what we're meant to do with it.
Yes.
So, although you knew as a child that you definitely had this, at what point in your life did you know that this was your chosen path or chosen for you that you had to walk?
That the giving readings for friends and family made me really happy. And
Mm.
I tried to have a normal job. I really tried. And I was a secretary for a very long time. But giving readings, it was just so uplifting and it gave so much energy.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
when I knew,
Yeah, it was the right
yeah,
cause. And I don't know about you. I used to read. I'm too immersed in this now. This is the path that's been chosen for me. But when I used to read, it didn't matter if I was ill or really
no,
down or really depressed. I'd start reading for other people, and
yeah,
like the energy would just surge through me, and it would
yes.
lift me up in every way,
So
and
true.
give me the ability to kind of see what I'm meant to see, because it is a
Yes.
universal energy that comes through you, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it feels like home.
Hmm.
That
Mm.
energy feels like home. And
Yeah,
I'm convinced that this, that beautiful feeling is what we feel when we die.
yeah. Going home, I
It,
call it.
yeah, going home. And it's difficult to describe.
Hmm.
It's just unconditional love and warmth and everything. Everything's in there.
Yeah. The big word you used was unconditional. You don't need
Yeah,
to prove it, verify it, justify it, apologize for it. You are
exactly.
amongst the
Yeah.
beautiful divine energy from which you came
Yes.
from, and that's the ceiling. And I don't know about you, but being able to go, home, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and to just kind of recharge and regroup and just be amongst that beautiful wisdom. Do you
Yeah,
travel there, spiritually to get recharged?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and also during meditating, and even during holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I really long to get back to work. I
Yes.
miss it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like what you said. It feels like when you're ill, you don't feel ill during the reading.
Yes. Yes. I know it's weird that, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah. I've done it with, high temperature and
Yeah.
and infection, and yet, when I did it, they said, "Are you sure you're ill? You were absolutely fine during that reading."
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
go back to, "Ugh."
Yeah. Yeah. The minute you stop, you're back to, okay,
Yes.
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ill.
Yes. Back to that human side of things.
Yeah.
Um, knowing this from such a young child, when
Yeah.
did you actually understand, yes, I've got this sixth sense and this is the path I'm meant to take? But of course, people around you not understanding it, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Did they treat you any differently? Were they trying to steer you away in another direction?
No. My father noticed something was wrong, and he took me for a walk, a long walk in the woods. And he started to, I was very young, I was 8 or 9, and he started to talk to me that there are people around us, people who are diseased, and
Mhm.
everyone has a spirit guide. And I was, "Oh, what? My dad knows all these things."
Yeah.
So I felt very safe at
Mm,
home.
mm,
Um, and well, when you grow older, you get the people who are really against it, but that's something else. But
yeah.
my family was always okay with it. Yes.
I think I was a very sickly child, so I spent a lot of time in bed for over long periods of time. And so for me,
Hmm.
four blank walls was like jail. So I would go off in dimensional travel and live in different worlds. And that
Yeah.
kind of became my sanctuary and my understanding. And, I have
Wow.
memories of these worlds that it can't be now. It can't be this world
Hmm. Yeah.
because that type of thing doesn't exist. Did you travel as well into other dimensions?
No, not that I remember when I was young.
Mm.
When I grew older, I love to do that.
Yeah.
But I can imagine when you're sick and you only have these four walls, you got to
Hmm.
do something.
Yes.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, and then of course it becomes your reality, which it is, because you're just
Hmm.
going, we're so limited in our thinking when we only think from the flesh,
Yeah.
right? And when we think and
Hmm.
embrace from the spirit, and we understand there are no boundaries, we can go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
There's no ticket needed. We can just go anywhere.
Exactly.
And when people gather that, it's like energy, people coming more conscious of what energy is, that it's not just
Yeah.
something you plug into a wall, the energy that's within us and around us, and the
Yeah.
vibrational energy that heals and feeds us. And more people are waking up to that energy. Well, within that
Yeah.
energy,
Yeah.
you can do anything because without the limitations
Yeah.
of the body, that energy can take you anywhere, can't it?
Anywhere. Anywhere. I always say to people, you can ask anything if you want to know where do I come from.
Hmm.
You can meditate, and the guides take you to the place you come from. And we believe that we are our body,
Yeah.
but we only use maybe, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think we use about 10-20% of our soul and
Mm.
what it can do.
Hmm.
So explore. There's so much more to explore when you dive into yourself.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I know that I've I came to this planet to ignite heart and souls and spirit in order for people to have that universal connection, and that's always been my
Yeah.
job. But obviously, through the lifetimes gone through the persecution, dunked, burnt at the stake, torn and quarters, you name it, all of
Yeah.
that, because it was a threat to humanity because they weren't ready,
Hmm.
to embrace that spirit. But how do you feel now? I feel very much there's an awakening going on and there's
Oh,
a surge of energy.
yeah.
Are you feeling that?
Yeah. And also the questions I get now from
Mm,
young ones,
hmm.
they ask questions like, Yeah, I talked to my spirit guide and I want to get to know more about my previous lives with him or her. I never got these questions 30
Yes.
years ago. Never, ever,
No.
never.
Yeah. It's a
People's like
beautiful awakening
spirit
going on.
guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And especially the young ones.
Hmm.
They are so psychic. They're
Yes.
so aware. Not all of them, of course, but like our generation is catching up really quickly. Yeah,
I think we have to. I've been saying for a long time in 1994 and 5, they turned us up. 2012, they turned up the volume
yeah,
anymore. And since then, they've been turning it up, turning it up, turning it
yeah,
up. And I believe that this year, 2024, we're going to see a great big huge surge of energy and the
yeah,
rising of our consciousness and the rising of
yeah,
our awareness. Are you
yeah,
seeing that reflected in the kind of questions your clientele is asking or just where they're at?
yeah. They want to follow their heart.
Mm,
They have a job, they don't like it. What is my soul mission? They want
yes.
to uh, live rural. They want to build their own vegetables and fruits. It's there's this is so special what's going on right now on Earth.
It's a reset, isn't it?
It's actually a reset, and we
Hmm.
have to. We have
Mm,
to.
yes, we do.
Yeah.
100% agree with you that we're desperate to. I say for, people kind of go, how can we embrace the spirit and the heart and soul and the peace and the love when we see
Mhm.
perpetually the wars and the hate and the disconnect and the lies and
Yeah.
the deceit? I
Yes.
call those third dimensioners that are unwilling to step into the higher consciousness and they know that their time is coming to an end. And so
Yeah.
they're making more noise and making more fuss about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've said for a long time that the fourth dimensional bridge is going to break away from the third dimensional. And if you're not on it, you'll get left behind. How do you feel about that?
I'm so sorry.
No worry, don't worry. We've both got coughs and
In
colds here,
your
folks.
ear.
Yeah, that's fine. We may
Oh,
splutter. That's the human condition.
yeah. How I look at it is some people like to be told what to do, how to live their lives. And I think for these people, the third dimension is okay.
Hmm.
But for people like us, we can't.
No.
So there's a really shift going on. It's visible everywhere. It started, of course, with COVID, and it got really visible. The
Yes.
people being divided, families being divided and I think that's the real visible start of the dividing of the two worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
COVID was obviously for some people a great detriment because they lost their lives or they ended up with, long-term illnesses. But I think
yes,
for an awful lot of people, it was a gift. It was a pause in their life
yes,
for them to reflect and
yeah,
redirect where they really wanted to go, where they really needed to go. And so many people have said, if it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't be doing what I'm
exactly.
doing now. So it kind of was a global gift in a sense
It
for
was.
pause and reflect.
And I think maybe this was the last gift to really look at your life.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, it's been going on for years
Yeah.
already, the
Yes.
shift. And now people were really confronted with, okay, is this what you want? You can
Yeah.
think about it, you can go a different direction.
Hmm.
And a lot of people did, of course. A lot of people decided to work where they can work anywhere in the
Hmm.
world with their laptop. And
Yeah.
so I'm so happy to be alive to witness this all,
Yes.
aren't
Yes.
you?
Yes. At last. It's really for us,
Yeah,
it's at
yeah,
last, right?
yeah,
We're
yeah,
not, we don't feel like we're walking up against the wind. We kind of feel the wind has turned around and kind of got behind our backs now
yeah.
and
Yeah,
really
I
pushing us
have
forward.
goosebumps. You saying that, I have really goosebumps all over. Yeah, so true.
The universe gave me a saying about 5 years ago, I think, somewhere around there. The universe is going to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up and grow up. Double entendre on the grow up vibrationally, but also
Hmm.
grow up. We've
Yeah,
become a bunch of spoilt whiners,
yeah,
instead of being proactively beautiful as we're meant to be. And
yeah,
I think, obviously for some people, the shakeup is still happening. But so many
Hmm.
people, as we've said, during COVID, they got shaken up, they woke up,
Yes,
and they've decided to step up and change it up, and they're already well ahead.
they
And but there's
are.
still some people still in the shaking up period.
Yeah, a lot of mental instability as well.
Yes,
That I'm
yes.
I'm witnessing that. And I can imagine when you've had a life and suddenly you have to think about it,
Mm,
think about what you want.
yeah,
But like I said, I also feel that a lot of people are okay with being told what to do, and the free spirits, they can't. They, it's
they can't be a part of
impossible.
it. Yes, I know. It's I feel for a lot of people, they rather point the fingers and have everybody else
Hmm.
own it rather than the three fingers that are saying, what are you doing
Yeah,
about it? How are you taking responsibility? Where's your action?
yeah,
And I think they don't want to because it does require a shift in thinking, a shift in lifestyle, a shift in everything
everything.
in you. And if you're not
Yeah.
willing to put that work in and really focus on that shift, which will lead you, promise you, to a better place,
Oh,
but
yes.
they don't want to do the work because it's
Yeah,
easier to blame everybody else rather than take on the responsibility of doing the work yourself.
it is. And well, that group is here on Earth.
Hmm.
And I, in the beginning, I also felt for these people,
Hmm.
but now I think, well, it's their choice, and
Exactly.
they look at us like you're crazy.
All
What are
right.
you talking
Yeah,
about?
I'm not quite sure. We might look back at you and go, living in anger
Yeah,
and hate and disconnect. You're telling
yeah.
me that's sane? Because it's not the kind of sanity I want.
No,
No,
no, of course not.
there's
No,
no peace in that at all, is there?
no. And I think, well, maybe they can catch up in another lifetime when they're
Yes,
ready.
yes,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah. And
Yeah,
let's talk about lifetimes. So, some people think it's just one lifetime and that's it. But
yeah,
we are spiritual beings having a human existence, and in each lifetime we learn something, and
yeah,
and then we come back to learn something more. And some people come back and repeat that lesson over and over
yeah,
again if they don't learn
yeah.
it. So, I think what we're
Mm.
seeing a lot in our children are those souls that have gathered the wisdom from living many lifetimes and at a very young age.
Yes,
And
yes,
now the profoundness that is coming out of
everything.
our children, the
Yeah,
illuminant that's coming out of them, the common sense that's coming out of them
yeah.
is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, things we learned when we were in our 20s, 30s,
Hmm.
40s, they are born with this
Yes,
wisdom.
yes.
It's amazing. But maybe we were the same when we were born. We had a different
Mm.
kind of wisdom than our parents did.
Yeah, but I also think when you look at the system, a lot
Hmm.
of children have this and then they go to school and school has them conform. And
Yeah,
what it does is it breaks down that beautiful individual spirit because there's nowhere to
yeah.
fly. Everything goes
That's
about conform, conform, conform,
yeah,
and they lose that spirit. And I
yeah.
think, I've got a book coming out called Our Forgotten Children book anthology, where we talk about how the systems have broken down and they're failing our children, and that we need to
Horribly.
acknowledge this and change this if we want to see our beautiful spiritual
Yeah,
beings being the proper leaders for tomorrow. Otherwise, we're just going to see more dysfunction in the world.
absolutely. And lots of parents give home teaching,
Hmm.
but it's so sad that the child has to confirm to the school's
Yes,
rules.
yes,
While it's such a beautiful child, such a beautiful soul,
yeah.
and they don't see that or they're not able to see it. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's breaking their spirit in many ways.
Yes,
It,
and it's very brave of these young ones to be born to
mm,
witness that, because I think within 50 years it's going to be completely different. So
yeah.
they're paving the path for the young ones coming behind them.
Mm.
That's brave.
I have two grandchildren. One's almost three, one's almost one in the next 2 or 3 months. And, I'm hoping I'm going to be around for another 20 to see them grow up as adults. I'm
Of
69, so
course,
who knows what I've got left, right?
of course.
But
Yeah,
I already look at them as such beautiful souls. One represents the universe, one represents the earth. And I think the two of them are going to be such a beautiful yin yang. And the little one that represents the universe has Down syndrome, which I think is also a gift in itself. Now,
Yes,
because they live so very much in the present and the joy of the present,
yes,
even if they get mad or upset, it's done, it's finished, back into joy.
yeah,
And I think that is a reminder for all of us, let things
yeah,
go. Don't
yeah,
let things that are unnecessary ferment, right? Constantly
yeah,
seek the joy out of life because it's abundant if you feed it.
yeah. It's so if amazing what you say in the here and now. So your grandchild can teach that to others.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, there are no mistakes, right?
never, never.
There's everything has a purpose and a reason. And
Yeah.
I really hope that we give our children a chance because we're failing them right now. Um, and they are the
Hmm.
hope for the future. And I think if we nurture their spirit and allow them to be, you know, the future guardians, the future leaders,
Yeah.
they will be people that will lead us out of what I call the dark ages and take us into the light.
Mm. They will. Oh, I have no doubts. They will. They definitely will. Do you have doubts about that? I hope not, because there will be so many incredible inventions
Yes.
about free energy for everyone,
Yeah.
um, getting um, everything you need from Earth, no more sickness. And when
Mm,
you get sick, you'll be treated and no more chemo, but other options.
mm.
Things like that. Yeah, I hope we can witness this, and otherwise we'll be upstairs in heaven,
Upstairs watching,
uh,
watching
upstairs
from above.
watching
Yeah,
and
exactly.
enjoying it.
And
Yeah,
kind of being the energy above what the children below need.
yeah,
I did this wonderful podcast on the Bosnian pyramid that was discovered, and it was one of the largest pyramids in the world. And they've discovered there's 1,000 pyramids around the world. And what they were planted for was actually
yeah.
to be energy beams to pull energy from the universe in order to
Yes,
power this world. What
yeah,
went
I
wrong?
believe
I
that.
don't know. Whether it became greed or whether it became power, but they were abandoned. But this Bosnian pyramid now, what they've learned from it,
Wow.
the
Yeah,
waters are so healing, the energy, the Russians reconfigured it in its dimensions, and the what it powers within it is absolutely amazing. So
yeah,
I think as we make these discoveries of ancient past of how Earth should have been, right?
yes,
That I think now we're going to be stepping into what we were really designed to be here for.
exactly. I think that we once were like how we are going to be in our future.
Mm,
And
yeah,
then greed stepped in,
power.
uh, power, jealousy, and
Hmm.
then we stalled and we
Mm.
forgot everything. And um, but it's all there. And we did that. Also building the pyramid together with well, I feel extraterrestrial
Oh,
life
alien
forms.
technology for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so we weren't afraid of that, but
Hmm.
then the dark ages began, and that's when everything stopped, all the knowledge just stopped, and we forgot. We're going back to that era again. Yay!
We had, I think, as a species, universal faith, and then I think
Yeah.
religion came in as a controlled faith.
Hmm.
You can't speak to God directly. You've got to go through me. And
Yeah.
I've got to deem if you're worthy enough
Yeah.
for God to receive your message, and you've got to pay me to do it. And if
Yeah.
I don't like what you're saying or doing or your free will, hell is waiting for you. And
Yeah.
it became a brainwashing. And I
Hmm.
think the intent behind a lot of the religions initially was how to go direct. But
Yeah.
then man misconstrued it and made it a power thing, a
Yeah.
power struggle. And you look at how many wars have been done in the name of religion, and God is love, right?
Of
God
course.
is love. God doesn't want you to die for him or kill for him or hate somebody because they're different. That's not the
Yeah.
God I know.
No, and I think that now they can remove certain people from all the social platforms.
Hmm.
But I think in medieval times they would have burned them or drowned them.
Oh, yes.
but
Yes.
of course they can do that
At
now.
least
So
50 lifetimes I had that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure
Oh,
if your memory went that way too, you would have been really persecuted, etc., because they
oh
don't
yeah.
want people to have free will and choose for themselves. Because where's the
No.
power in
And
that?
and yeah, and also have knowledge.
Yes,
They have knowledge. I think people who are greedy and scared, they're scared of other people having knowledge. So it's the witch hunt is still going on
it
in a
is.
different form. Yeah.
It is. Are you
Mm,
familiar with the Handmaid's Tale book series and
yes.
TV series? I very often kind of make the comment, the wanting to go the handmaiden's way. And and of course, when she wrote it, she said, none of this is far-fetched. It's
No,
going on somewhere in the world. I just put it all together in one. And you look at that, and it's absolutely scary
it
because
is.
it is about totally limited thinking, dumbing people down, and keeping them enslaved, right?
Yeah.
And no beautiful individual souls, no uniqueness, no
No.
creation, right? And it's
Yeah. Horrible.
and no, you can see this, even with Nazis and things like this, trying to raise up again. And of
Hmm.
course, barefoot and pregnant, putting women back in the kitchen, to be nothing.
Yeah.
I say
Yeah.
we're out of the womb. We're not going back in, and we're here for a reason. I
Absolutely.
don't think it doesn't matter how much they complain. I don't think they can take that power away from us now because we're about empowerment, and I don't think they can stop it. How do you feel?
No, they can't stop it anymore. And you said, I think 15 minutes ago that the pressure is getting stronger
Mm,
because people who feel they are losing, they do weird things.
yes,
So I feel it will get crazier,
yes.
but that's a sign that they're losing.
Mm.
The more crazy they get, yeah,
It's like a 2-year-old tantrum. Let them have their tantrum. Eventually, they'll tire out.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So no, this everything's going to change for the better. Everything.
And resistance is
What a
futile
time.
because the change is already in play. The change
It's
is
a
already enormous.
Yeah,
We just
it's
don't see it on
huge.
CNN or Fox News because anything that's considered spiritual on those places immediately becomes cultish and evil. And
Yeah,
that's again, just again, fear mongering,
yeah,
right? When people collectively come together to share their energies like a symphony, that is harmony. Um,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
And
interesting
when
how they
you
manipulate.
have a when you truly love people, there's also a huge paranormal
Yes,
force
yes.
happening when you truly love someone, people around you. So love is the answer. It
Oh,
always was, and it always is, and it always
yeah.
will be.
Love is all. Love is all. Right? It is everything.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
the I look at it this way in the knowingness is that the knowingness is the soul's wisdom and compass that then
Sorry.
guides us forward to our heart ignition of truth, lifts us into
Yeah,
our spirit action for our mind to know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. All
yeah.
that knowledge we don't know what to do with as human beings. It's only when we
Mhm.
allow the wisdom to come through us that we understand how to use that knowledge responsibly.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I could talk with you for months. Like you're so in tune with everything that I stand for and what I believe in. And it's very refreshing to hear all these things you say because it's exactly the way I think and feel about it. Yeah.
The messages that you're getting right now on this cusp of this,
Yeah.
well, the energy's been growing and growing and growing, but I feel, as I said, this 2024 year of the dragon, the fire and the energy and the positivity, the
Yeah.
numerology 8. I feel, and I've just been feeling it in my core.
Yeah.
2024, 2024. Um,
Yeah.
what messages are you getting right now that is, kind of
Yeah.
that they want us to know?
Well, in 2020, my guide said that in 2025 the beast will show itself. And for me, the beast is the devil. I
Mm,
don't believe in the devil.
no.
And
It's
my,
devilish behavior, not for
yeah,
devil. Yes.
exactly. Thank you. So my guide showed the chip in the hand, and then later on a chip in the neck, and that
Mm,
will control people completely, what they
yes.
think, like everything. And then 27, 28, that will be a huge breakthrough, that all the people who are waking up right now and the coming years, there will be such a pushback. It's
Hmm.
a pushback like there's never ever been. And then around 2030, 2032, the new world is here
Mm. Oh, good. I
because,
do get to see it before I go.
oh, of course, no worries. You'll see everything in a human body, that
Hmm.
is.
Yes.
So it will take a couple of years, but we're well on our way, and it's every little step is necessary because this is going on for centuries. But yeah,
There's a lot
25
to
will,
undo, isn't there, to in order to insert new?
yeah, always, always. So, but I have full faith in this whole process. I've never felt more guides around people
Mm,
than these years. They know what's going on. They're looking at us. They're
mm.
helping us and supporting us. It feels so great.
I also think there is the challenge of technology and its evil use, devilish use, and its positive use.
Hmm.
And I think that
Yeah.
because we're in a human vessel and sometimes we are limited to what we allow our spirits to do because we try and keep it contained, that I think that AI in some aspects is going to be something that will be the technology conscious of us and help us evolve and rise up to another level. Of course, AI can be used by the devilish behavior as well
Hmm.
and used
Yeah.
negatively. And that comes into our own consciousness of how we use it. You drive a car, you can drive it fast and kill everybody along the way. You can drive it responsibly and get to your destination.
Yeah.
So gain
Yeah.
choice. But I think that for me, what I'm getting the message of is that don't be afraid of AI. It's the
Hmm.
earth consciousness that's opening us up more to the universal consciousness if we use it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. That last sentence is very important.
Mm,
It will first be used for dark
wrong.
stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that will change. And I feel that AI will always be here, but we're going to use it differently. Yeah, it's
Ah,
like the box of Pandora opened,
yes.
but it's going to be closed again. Not for everyone, but for
Mm.
people who want to use it in the right way, it will be, well,
An
helpful.
enhancement. I really feel
Yes,
it's an
yes,
enhancement for us. Um,
yeah.
it kind of even frees us up more time to actually be present with self, be present with
Hmm.
our spirit. Um,
Yeah.
so I think that it kind of becomes a partner. There's a great movie called The Creator, which is kind of about that, a really good movie of AI and humans living perfectly well together until something goes
Oh,
wrong. And then, of course, humans trying to annihilate it, which it wasn't even their fault in the first place. So again,
yeah.
it's what we seed, what we water, how
Mm.
we feed those seeds as to what to grow. And I think that consciousness of choice, what are you choosing to plant and feed,
Yeah.
is becoming more and more
Yeah.
relative, isn't it?
Yeah. And it needs work on our
Yes.
part,
Mm.
um, but we're ready for it. So we can dive and become that version who we were before the dark century
Mm.
began. So that's so beautiful to look forward to, because
Yeah.
we want to know, we want to build pyramids again. We want to
Mm.
have contact with good ETs,
Hmm.
and they can share their knowledge. It's it feels like we're watching something from a movie, but it's
Yeah.
not.
It's almost like we're watching things in slow motion and just waiting
Yeah,
for, things to gather to the speed into
yeah,
proper motion. And it's like, um, you and I are
yeah,
both over there. We know why and what, right? Because
mm,
we've already worked this in our entire lives and past lives.
yeah,
So we know. And of course, the eagerness to get other people there, and this is why we call self-discovery wisdom, folks, because it's the discovery of the
Yeah.
wisdom that lies within you and around you that's there to guide you when you're willing to tap into it. It's
Yeah.
the eagerness for everyone to kind of feel like this. The interesting thing is, though, for I've been doing this nearly 12 years, the people I've interviewed that were in what I call the human condition careers, the human condition life, and
Yeah.
then they had the cosmic two by four, which then flattened them, totally created them for the life they had, and they had to rebuild, but they built it in a totally different realm of more of the
Okay.
spirit consciousness. And I feel there's some form of revolution coming that's going to have a ripple effect around the world for
Yeah.
these energies to change. What are you getting?
Yeah. You mean the big pushback,
Yes.
the big pushback. I feel the same. And people are starting to notice that I make myself sick.
Mm,
That's also something that's growing. Taking responsibility over their body, over their soul. Um, yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And internet, I think, also has a dark side. But
yes,
without internet, I would never be talking to you. And
exactly. As with everything in life,
yeah,
everything
yeah,
has a good and a bad side. I call,
yeah,
I feed the sunny side of the street. I'm fully aware of the darkness on the other side of the street. I
yeah,
used to go into the darkness and try and pull people out, and all I did was got sucked in. So
yeah,
now I'm on the other side of the street. You've got to cross the road. Once you're in the middle of that road, I'll take your hand and pull you over. But
yeah,
you've got to,
beautiful.
out of free will, get to that middle of that road because I
Yeah.
can't help you until you're willing to help yourself.
And that's free will. And if they don't want to cross the road, then that's okay too. That's okay too. Maybe they can help us brilliantly when they are on the other side. I think a
Yes,
lot of people who got COVID and died are really helping us. And that was their they didn't, of course, they didn't know that.
right.
Their intention to help. I can feel a lot of help from them.
Hmm.
And that's beautiful.
It's being in touch with your core compass, isn't it? That core that says
Yeah,
yes, do it, or no, do it. And you don't need to go, well, why can't I do it? No, it just says no, and you accept that. And when it
yeah.
says yes, it opens up. And it's
Oh,
trusting it because that's that universal wisdom guiding you. It's
yeah.
always with it, but it's tuning into that.
Yeah, and anyone can do it. And
Mm,
that's something that people are really eager to learn now.
mm,
How can I feel what I want? How can I listen to my spirit guides? How can I listen to my higher self?
mm.
And I love to teach that. I've got also a couple of free ebooks to tap into your own intuitive power. It's free on my website. And
Wonderful.
yeah, because the more, the merrier. We got to
What?
get this group as big as we can.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
You've got people. I'm beginning to become aware. I'm waking up to this, but I don't know how. And then
yes, yes.
people like you come along. Here is the how.
And like you, yeah.
Hmm.
And so, but you are still free to say whatever you want on your website and
Hmm.
everything. Oh, that's great. So you're
Yes.
like an untouchable.
Oh, well, I'm sure I could be touched. I mean, but I remember interviewing another podcast and she said, "Do you get hate messages? Do you get this? Do you get that?" And I go, "No." I've had a couple of people. I had one at Christmas, which was really weird. A woman who said that she's listened, excuse me a moment. A woman that said she's listened to my spiritual shows and it's taken her to the devil's side. And my response is she can't take you to that side if you're not willing to walk it. And if
Exactly.
in the illumination of the light of the people that I bring to you,
Yeah.
you've chosen the darkness, I can't do anything about that, nor can they.
Well said. Well said.
Sorry, we're both coughing away like crazy here.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes there's a reason why we have to go into the dark. I retreated from my
Yeah.
life for about 8 years. And I was in the dark to protect myself. I saw the light out there, didn't want to come out. And then I realized that apathy was setting in and I
Mm-hmm.
had to come out. And then it
Wow.
was very bright and I felt shadows chasing me. Excuse me a moment. And as I walked further into the light, the shadows became more contours of shape. And now I
Okay.
love going into the dark because in the
Yeah.
dark, I am the light. So I have nothing to fear. And in the
No.
darkness, I can see what I need to see more clearly. So
Yes.
it's a willingness to kind of go through the process, isn't it? A lot of people go, oh, but I get these dark thoughts when I meditate. Oh, they're just trying to release themselves. They're just trying to show you what it is you're meant to release. Don't be
Yes.
afraid of the process, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and once you know how to do that, it's so easy, and you want to be in the light all the time. You don't
Yeah.
want to uh, read scary books or look at the news all the time. You want to shift through that and
Mm,
be connected with the light. Yeah, that's also in the Netherlands here. So many talk shows are losing so much audience.
hmm.
People are fed up with
Yeah.
the indoctrinating, and this is how it is, and we're right and you're wrong,
Yeah.
and they're not changing it, but they're losing all these viewers,
Hmm.
and
People
they're
get
not.
tired of it.
Yeah, and people they should think, okay, what can we do to get our viewers back? But they
Yes.
don't, because
No,
they only know that one-way street into the darkness.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I like presenting a problem because if we don't acknowledge the problem, how can we be a part of the solution? But it
yeah,
is always looking at what options do we have? What
yeah.
options do we have and I did a show a couple of weeks ago with a woman who had a brain injury from jumping from a plane, which was a parachutist. The person she was teaching didn't follow instructions and landed on her head. And so she
Oh,
hit the ground. And but she went
oh
back to
my.
work when she, realized she had some brain fog and she got a business con. And they're so highly sophisticated nowadays. And she went to
Gee.
Peru to meet a client and ended up in jail for 4 years.
No.
And the embassy didn't protect her. American, she's American. Nobody protected her. You have to pay to even be in prison. And she said, literally living amongst the cockroaches.
Oh
Just
my God.
and then they spelled her name wrong, so therefore she couldn't come out. All sorts of things, anything to keep them in and get more money from the family because entire
Oh,
corruption, even the American consulate, the entire corruption. And I have to admit that, I mean, her story needed to be told because it was a story of beware. She knows that she made this mistake, that she perhaps should have done more due diligence, but her brain
yeah.
injury didn't take her there. But also to believe that the
Oh,
scam could be so big and so far and wide. And
yeah.
so this is a cautionary tale. But I have to admit, it sat with me for quite a while heavy
Yeah.
and doing other
Yeah.
shows that were lighter because I feel for her and there's so many people that got caught up in these scams today because they are so sophisticated that
Yes.
it's horrible. But
Mm,
at the same time is that we must feed the light that even sheds on her and her horror story,
yeah.
for all of us to rise up. We're not ignoring what's going on in the world.
No, of course not. But no, that would be ignorant. We have to know what's going on, but don't
Exactly.
keep in. But did she get something positive out of all of? Is she free? Or yeah, of
Oh,
course.
yes, yeah,
Otherwise, she
she's
couldn't
back
talk
to
to you.
business. She's written a book on it. She's brought this awareness to
Okay.
other people. She has, gone through it and
Yeah.
no longer a victim of it. But she wanted the world to know what's going on and that her own
Yeah.
government, because she's to them a nobody. That
Mm,
Olympian star they got out when she was caught with cocaine. This woman didn't even get caught with that. They gave her something, and everything was a con and that she had no rights, none whatsoever. But I've also interviewed a woman who went to jail for 2 years for a crime her brother committed. And as they couldn't find him, they sent her. And she had an autistic child at home. She had never even got a parking ticket in her life. And
whoa.
she was in Texas jail for 2 years. So the injustices isn't just outside in the world. I have to tell those stories because if we don't acknowledge
Yeah.
the sewage that's going on
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
We're not going to get angry enough to rise up and try
Mm,
and shed light on our possibilities. We'll give in to that. And
yeah,
oh, it is, it's just the way it
yeah,
is. No, it's not the way. I'm going to accept it as it is.
yeah.
If we have to change so things like that don't happen.
Hmm. Yeah. What a nightmare. What a complete nightmare for these women. And we all think, oh, well, my government will take care of me.
Nope.
It won't. Yeah, and that's a harsh truth.
It all
Truth.
comes down to e-commerce. It all comes
Yeah,
down to money.
yeah.
And I think, the way we look at
My
money, as you
God.
said, people are working from home, growing their own vegetables, we're living more rural. They're letting go of the material things
Hmm.
because what we've realized, these material things is not where the happiness lies. Yes, a comfortable home and some nice pleasures, absolutely. But if you're
Yes,
constantly wanting bigger and better and brighter and more sparkly to make you feel good,
yeah.
and nothing is enough, that's outside living. It's not inside living. And so the people you're talking about that are awakening are living from the inside out, and they already realize they're enriched and abundant.
Exactly. Yeah. So true. And also about health. When you're healthy, you're a millionaire. You're a
Yeah.
billionaire.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Your book, the most memorable psychic readings and personal stories, are these people uh, that you have worked with, or how are these your stories?
Yeah, these are my stories. And I collected, I had time during COVID, so I
Hmm.
collected in my mind my most memorable readings,
Mm,
the challenging ones also, and the things I witnessed in my personal life with paranormal things happening, haunted houses. And when I had surgery, I had an out of body experience. I
mhm.
wrote about that. And also because it's such a coincidence, but I have the book here. So I also give exercises to expand and deepen your awareness.
Mhm.
I love writing it.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to share your story, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's quite
yeah.
intimidating. I put mine out at the end of last year in the ebook form, and I remember just downloading and writing it, and it's all the rewriting and the editing that kind of you
Oh
looks
boy.
at you
Yeah.
second guess would anybody be interested, and then you're kind of looking at your own life from a different point of view.
Yeah. And it feels
Did you find
naked.
a common theme through it, like a common thread?
Love,
Mm. Of
love,
self, love of life, love of
love of self, love of life, love for the universe,
mm.
love for each other on unconditional way. Yeah, that's the come. What a beautiful question. No one asked me that question. And I had to think about it and I thought, no, it's love. It's love. Yeah, yeah,
It always
yeah,
reveals the answer, doesn't it? And it's just a
yeah,
statement of it's love. Isn't that what we all want? We want to be love. We want to love ourselves. We want others to
yeah,
love us. We want to love others. Because when you step into love on all those very many levels, that's when true creativity and growth and divine expansion grows
yeah,
with you.
yeah. And you can receive so much. I call it the inspiration about ideas about what you want to do in life. Maybe you want to do creative things. Maybe you get an idea of, I should call that person
Yeah.
and catch up again. It's all divine inspiration. That's how
Mm.
I call it. Yes,
Do you have a process before you read for
lovely.
someone that, is there a meditation? Is there space you put yourself in before you do a reading?
Yeah, I always make sure my mind is quiet.
Hmm.
That's that of itself is so lovely to have a quiet mind.
Mm.
And then I always ask my guides to make this the best reading ever. I say this before every reading. I want this to be the best reading ever. I want it to be uplifting. I want to help that person. And then I'm ready.
Mm. And
Yeah.
then it just comes through you. Do you you do
Yeah.
it by a picture, or you do it by touch? How do you do it?
yeah, or by voice,
Mm-hmm.
a voice or a photo, and then I just glide into the energy
Mm.
and listen to my guides who work together with the other person's guides. And then I just repeat what I see, what I feel, what I
Mm.
hear. Sometimes I smell things as well. And an hour feels like 10 minutes for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very easy. Do you get some of their spirits coming through sometimes, wanting to give them a message?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And I
Mm.
record every reading because it's so much. And
Mm.
when I talk, I'm calm and I
Mm.
talk rather slowly. But when I give a reading, I really have to sometimes catch my breath. The
Mm.
guys just keep on talking and talking and
Yes.
talking. So I have to record it as well so that I
Mm.
can listen back to what's been
Well,
said to
when
them.
you having a reading, I mean, it's actually 2010. I was
Yeah.
involved with a quantum electric motor that subsequently eventually
Oh,
got stolen from us and became bankrupt, homeless, and everything else. But this reader told me at the time, you're going to do something online that's international, that's going to save lives. And this is
oh,
going to be your calling. And I thought, how is the motor going to work online, and do that? Because,
yeah.
being
Yeah.
cars and machines and things like that, and I just didn't
Yeah.
relate. And then when that world came crashing down, it was within a few months that the opportunity to become a podcaster, which I didn't even know what podcasts were back then, on
Oh,
somebody else's
amazing.
network. And then now April will be
Wow.
12 years of being a podcaster, and June will be 11 years of my own network. And it ended up being, everything I've done in my life I know has led me to this now, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
you've always done this though. So, for
Yeah.
you, did you ever think about maybe I should try something different? Or is it no,
No,
I'm where I'm meant to be.
I'm where I'm meant to be, but I'm always curious about my own abilities. Can I go a step further?
Hmm.
What's next? I don't
Hmm.
want to be on the same level all the time.
Right.
So writing a book was
Yeah.
a new territory. But and what you said, usually when your world crumbles
Yes.
and you think, oh my gosh, what am I to do? You feel like you're in a black hole.
Yeah.
It's
Useless.
always it's always a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
It's yeah, maybe that will help people because a lot of companies are going down,
Yeah.
a lot of people being fired. Believe us, believe me and Sarah, it's a blessing in disguise. It
I call
really
it the
is because
redirect.
you have to
Yes.
do something else,
Yes.
and then you
Yes.
can.
Yeah. It's only from the bottom, when you've crumbled, had a good cry, licked your wounds, that
Yeah,
you actually understand the path that's now being presented in front of you. Because that path could have been in front of you the whole time, and you were too busy being busy that you didn't see it.
yeah, or
Uh,
comfortable,
yeah. Or comfortable. Mm.
yeah. So they had to do something, your guides, to just, wow, okay, now we're certain she's going to do this.
Yes.
And you would never go back, would you?
No, God, no.
You're just
No.
beginning.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
call it the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, cosmic 2x4. Because the universe gives us a nudge and a
Yeah.
wink wink and have I got your attention? No, wackaroo, cosmic 2x4, right?
Wackaroo, yeah.
And then it's okay.
Yeah.
But we never waste anything that we've done before, because everything that we've done before are skills and things we've learned to apply to what we're really meant to be doing now.
So beautifully said. Yeah, it's so true. And sometimes I have clients and they say, why do I want to learn Spanish? And I say, well, because probably within a couple of years you'll need it. Okay, then I'll do it.
And the thing is, it's when you hear these things, listen to the tape, digest one or two things you need to digest, and then re-listen to it again a few months later, and you go, you know what? I've already done that. I'm already on that path. Didn't
Yeah,
realize I was on that path.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
becomes a nice little memory jog for you,
Yes,
to I'm
yes,
on the right path. I'm doing what she said would be it, but you're doing it subliminally without realizing you're doing it.
exactly. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to record
Hmm.
because people can also make their own story about it, maybe in a negative way. So you got to record. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's And as you said, you talk fast, so there's a lot to digest, and the human mind can't digest it all. It gets stuck on one thing, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
After 20 minutes, our brain says goodbye.
Yeah. So I think it's very, very important that it's something that you go back and listen to. And it's like I say with a book, and I'm sure with your book, people may read it beginning to end. And then I always say, go to the book and say, what do I need to know? And
Yes.
open the book. And then
Yeah.
whatever's there, that's what you needed to know today. And it always works.
It it's it's like just like cards, like tarot cards, they never
Mm,
lie. The book
mm,
never lies.
yeah,
Yeah. That's a
yeah,
good piece of advice. Just open the book and say, what do I need to hear right now?
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and being present. I mean, you talked about meditation and things like this, is that we're so busy being busy, we don't know how to be present. And, not
Yeah.
everybody can sit cross-legged and come home and meditation. Is maybe it's going for a walk in nature.
Yeah.
Maybe it's listening to music. It's whatever's going to shut you off from your chatter brain and
Yeah.
put you into your soul brain, where you can truly
Yes.
listen and you want to more and more go into that space because it feels so right and you feel so
Yeah.
clear there.
Yeah. And I sometimes people say, yeah, but it's raining. So what should I do? I can't go outside. Well, um, look at a window.
Mm,
Outside a window, just look at a cloud formation passing by, or
mm,
look at the details of a tree standing in front of your window. It's
mm.
just the details that will clear your mind.
Yes,
And
yes,
even if you, because our brain wants to go on and on and on, of course. So even if you're like silent for 15 seconds,
yes.
that's a lot. And it does so much for you. And then you get used to it and you want to do it more and more. And
Hmm.
daydreaming is very good. Just daydream. What do you want?
Yeah,
Even if for you it's maybe something weird, like a beautiful house on Bali or something.
yeah.
Why do I say Bali? I don't know. But
My son and his
anyway,
fiance are going there next month.
uh-huh. Well, you never know. Maybe they're going to buy a house there one day. So just daydream,
Mm.
daydream about things that make you happy. That's so powerful.
I am so glad you said that because the general consensus is that if you're a daydreamer, you're living too much in your daydreams and you're a
Yeah,
loser.
yeah.
Now,
Blah, blah, blah.
I've just
Yeah,
interviewed an author, and he said there is no such thing as writer's block. He said just because you're not sitting there writing all the time doesn't mean you have a block. It means that you need to go somewhere else in order for that next chapter to manifest, and that is go into your
yeah.
daydreams, and then it will come out when it's ready to come out.
Oh,
Our our dream. I got a movie
yeah.
going on in my head all the time. All the
Yeah,
time. There's a
yeah,
parallel world going on. And I'm always projecting how I want to feel. And this is, I think, the difference of manifestation. It isn't,
yes.
I want to have this car and this house and this man and this and that and wait for Amazon to deliver it. It's
Mm-hmm.
let the universe know how you want to feel with something and let the
Yes,
universe then deliver what it knows you need to feel like that.
yes. And don't take score.
Yeah,
Don't say to yourself, "Oh, I felt happy for a week. Where is he?
yeah.
Where's that car?"
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that feeling of anticipation, waiting for something is almost just as good as receiving it. Don't you think so? That
I think you are receiving it. I think if we can,
it's already there.
yeah, I think it's even like this conversation before it even goes out, it's already out in the ether. It's
Yeah.
already been received, even though people
Yes.
may not be cognitively receiving it. The
Mm-hmm.
vibration is already out there. And I think when we put out a dream of what we
Yeah.
want and how we want to feel and we fantasize, the universe is picking that up. And
Yeah.
it's like with this book that a anthology book, I've forgotten children book series that I thought of 5 years ago, wanted to do. And
Yeah.
it was back burner, back burner, back burner until the right people. And it's like, I'm going to do it now. And
Yeah.
then all the people I thought I was going to do it with, no, no, no. And then I started interviewing people, you're right for the book. And it was yes, yes, yes. So I ended up
Oh,
with there's 15 of us in that book, and each one of them has bought something different and unique from their own life experience or expertise or working with children, and they're the
wow.
right ones. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's again 6 years ago, I was given a vision of where to take, instead of just podcasting, where else I could go.
Yeah.
And I'm a graphic person, so I put all it down in a picture. And then,
Oh,
something
that
would come
works
up. Is
too.
that the way? Explore that way? No. Was that way? No, explore that way. And then it's just again through the synchronicity and the right timing. Things are now, all of those pictures are pretty well coming into fruition now. The vision wasn't wrong, but whom I was going to do it with and when I
Yeah.
was going to do it or how, I had to step back and allow the universe to bring to me and then pay attention when it got there.
Yeah. And I think that's if you're able to do that, step back and just
Yeah.
let it happen and let the universe take care of it because we want to fill everything in with our brain. Oh, it
Mm,
must be like this or that person will be suitable. But you have to trust the universe. They know
yeah,
what's best for you and the right people. And yeah, that's if you've got that, if you know how that works, then the world's at your feet, actually.
exactly.
It is.
Do you find that from maybe 10 years ago, where's Mr. Right? How many kids am I going to have? To now is what's right for me and what's my meaningful purpose? Have you
Yeah.
found the questions have changed when people come to you?
Unbelievably so.
Mm,
Um, there are people who are asking, will I become a mother or a father? But most questions are about what do I need? What do I want? And
mm,
how do I get there?
yeah.
How can I explore that? What do I need to do? Who are my guides? Past lives are they're very interested in that too. Completely different questions.
Which is
Completely
exciting,
different.
isn't it? Because that means people
Oh my,
they are
yeah.
opening that door and not just saying for the status quo, but, going down that wonderment lane.
And if I tell them, when you do that, everything you want
Mm,
will be there. So and the spirit guides get so excited
mm,
when people ask these questions. They're like, "Whoa!" And then they start to talk. So I think this is the biggest change that
mm,
I experience with readings. And I could give other readings as well because there were people asking for different kind of readings.
hmm
So I could, um, yeah, go along with what's needed. And I like that too.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we grow as well, of course.
I think, the gift of reading, the gift of seeing, and like that for me has changed because all now it is here. This is where I channel it now. So I don't go down that path anymore. And that was okay because, this
Yeah,
is where I was meant to be. But I think even in these shows, there's over 3,000 shows out there, and just the people that I've had. I had somebody the other day, we did an interview 10 years ago,
yeah,
and she wants to come back and do another one. And she listened to the old one. She said, "My God, it's also relevant now as well." And I said, "Good wisdom never dies,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just
Well said.
heard and felt differently."
Yeah,
And you look at it through different eyes and you see different meanings behind it and
yeah.
different applications that you need to do. But when it's good wisdom, it never dies at all. It's just heard differently.
Yeah, and then people say, I hear things I never heard before on the recording, but they were there all along.
Yes,
But maybe you can hear them now because now is
you're
the
ready.
time to hear,
Yeah.
yeah, to hear, get the information. And I have the same thing with spiritual books. I love the books by Jane Roberts,
Mm,
Seth, the Seth material. I read things and I think, no, I never read this. It's impossible. So that's how our mind works, but also our subconscious as well. Yeah,
you go into your own form of space in order to do a reading.
yeah,
And, when I'm interviewing people go, "Oh, how are these interviews?" And I say, "Well, organic, it's just an exchange of energies."
yeah,
And do you do question answer? And I go, no, looking around the topic of what we're talking about, but I
yeah,
allow it to go where it needs to go
yeah,
because it's just reading the energies and what needs to be said. what needs to come out. And I
Yeah.
think if we can let go of the reins of dictation of how you think should things should be, and you
Yeah.
step into the allowance of the way the universe wants it to be, it's
Yeah.
always going to be more fruitful.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter um, if certain topics aren't answered,
Mm,
certain questions, because the people who are listening, they need to hear this right now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Good or bad. Sometimes you've got
good
to
or
face
bad.
something
Yeah.
bad in order to release it, in order to
Yeah.
embrace what's coming next. So,
Hmm.
um, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out. It's an animated movie about emotions.
No.
It was put out, oh gosh, either 2016 or 17, something like that.
Sorry.
And
Yeah.
and I remember pre-interviewing a psychiatrist, and I said, "You've got to watch this movie." And when we did the show, she said, "Thank you. Now I've got
Wow.
everybody watching this movie because it explains emotions and how emotions are an indication of where we're at, how to spend the emotion, release the emotion, not become emotional about it." But they've
Yeah.
got a Inside Out 2 coming out, where now they've
Oh,
introduced anxiety and depression and all of that because that really wasn't in there before. More and more people have anxiety and depression right now than we've ever seen before.
yeah.
I look upon that as a form of awakening if they can break through,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you
Yeah.
look at it as?
Yeah. And amazing that part two is coming out now,
Mm,
now that there's a lot of mental
yes.
instability.
Yeah.
And I don't know about your waiting list in your country, but here, when you have mental illness, you have to wait a year and a half.
We have in my province of BC, British Columbia, Canada, over 1 million people without doctors. And for any form of treatment, a year and a half or more, it's just there's a
It's the same.
shortage. It's
Yeah,
and but I also think there's a reason for that. It's like you can't go down the medical route. So now you're going to go
exactly.
and seek other people, which I have done so many shows on mental health, on
Yeah,
how to look at it in a different way, how to come out of
yeah,
it. That I think it's just again one of those pivots
yeah,
that's not available for you. You've got to do something. So look for
yeah,
the alternative.
exactly. And I think when in if Inside Out would be the sequel would be maybe 3 years ago, I think nobody would have the feeling, oh, I should watch this.
Yeah.
I think this is perfect timing from the universe again.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. It always gives us things when it's the right timing. And I think this is
yeah,
another thing is I used to be, what I call the hare. I see the vision. I want to get it done. I know exactly how it's like to be. Let's do it and get it
yeah,
open. And now I've become the tortoise because now it's about the gathering of the people, the gathering of all
yeah,
the information and the wisdom. It's not about the finish line. It's about how much wisdom is growing in the gathering
yeah,
along the way. And so life does change its meaning for you, and you do start to look at
yeah,
things differently. And I
yeah,
think if you're unwilling to see things differently, then you're going to get very, very stuck and be in a lot of pain.
yeah. True, true. And I think you get like in a downward spiral of
Yeah.
negativity, and then you attract more negativity, and so on. Yeah,
We,
that's
we've
sad.
each got to find our own way, right, of how to get out of that. Whether, for me, music or being proactive doing this,
Yeah,
it's always that realignment, the equilibrium of
yeah,
bringing your equilibrium back. And it's you've got to find out what it is. Try not to do the drugs if there is definitely something
mm-hmm.
neurologically that's not been wired properly and you need the drugs, yes. But try not to just go to the drugs first. Try and if it's just a case of anxiety and depression, and look
Yeah,
for the ways of how to lift yourself out of it and recognize the triggers and recognize when you're feeling that way, and then shut everything else down to do what you need to do in order to see yourself
yeah,
through it and come out the other side.
yeah. Absolutely true. I have nothing to add. It was perfect what you said.
You must have a lot of people come to you though, kind of like, I just don't know where to go. I just don't know what to do. The world is in such, itch
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
I mean, their energies are confused. They're confused. They're frustrated. How
Hmm.
does your reading change around that?
it helps a lot when they get tools how
Mm,
to be quiet, quiet their mind, be more mindful. And also, when they know they have a choice, you can choose what you want. You don't have to go where the fear is.
mm.
And that helps a lot. And can I break in, Sarah? Can I use the bathroom? Can I use your bathroom for a split second?
Most certainly, you may go and use the powder room. We will
Okay.
pause. So now we are relieved. We can get back to a different subject. What I would like to talk about is how do people know who their spirit guides are? My spirit guides have always stood around me in a circle and say, you don't need
Yeah,
to know who I am. We're there for you. But some people do have a
true.
spirit guide that is there as that companion. Are the spirit guides
Yeah.
more and more right now saying, know me, hear me? Or are they, when
No, it's
when
more
somebody
that
comes
the
to you and say, who
people
are
want to
they?
know. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people want to know who's my spirit guide. And um, we all have one main spirit guide. She is with you even before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
And when you die, you see your whole life with your spirit guide, helping you, explaining things. And then we have all our ancestors and deceased family members, friends. So there's a lot of people around us. There are a lot of people around us who are from 200, 300 years ago, but they
Mm-hmm.
know exactly who you are, why you are on earth, and what you're doing. And I love to give names to
Mm.
people so they can look up their family tree
All
and
right.
say, wow, this is my great 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 grandmother. Yeah,
And I
they're,
think I had my grandmother Daisy for a while. I don't think
yeah,
she's there anymore, but as I said, I feel like it's like they are a support group. But for some
yeah,
reason, as I said, I'm in the middle of the circle and they're there, and it's like in for some reason they're just there, and I've just got to trust what I feel from them, but they don't want to be revealed, so I don't know why. But Daisy for a while I did feel, and
yeah.
um, my dad was there for a little while, though he was cross with me.
Oh, really?
Oh, he died when I was 11, and I was going down a path that wasn't necessarily, it was a very much exploratory path of life and spirit. And even got to a point where I was body snatched because I wasn't protecting myself. And
Oh
so,
my.
it was kind of
Mm,
like, what are you doing? So dabbling
yeah.
into the paranormal without kind of proper protection. And,
Oh
the
yeah.
paranormal isn't always scary, but if you are not protected, you can open doors that you shouldn't open. Because there's earthbound
True.
spirits, right, that would
Yes.
like a body.
Yes.
So that was quite
Yeah.
full of experiences. But I think,
Yeah.
rather like the wonderful book Northern Lights by Philip Pullman, and Dark Materials, which came up as a TV show, where people are brought up with an animal that keeps changing until you reach puberty, but the animal speaks to you. So it's your consciousness. It's constantly speaking to you, your soul
Hmm.
consciousness. And then when you
Yeah.
become an adult, the animal is now whatever your consciousness is. And it's really quite, I was envious of
Beautiful.
that because wouldn't you love to have that?
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
there talking to you, holding you accountable, giving you advice, traveling with you, that companion.
Yeah.
But when we get to know our spirit guides and we truly tune into them, they are that companion that can travel with you.
Yes. Yes, they are. And I wanted to say something you just said. Oh, yeah. I wanted to say I see our higher self, our soul, our intuition, our gut feeling, our spirit guide as one beautiful, big,
Mm,
um, y- with different components to
hmm.
help us. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. But
Yeah,
they
it's
are that group. They are.
yes, yes,
And
it's
I have many discussions with my main spirit guide
mm,
because sometimes my brain doesn't agree with what he says. And
yeah,
then I start a useless discussion with him, and he always wins.
because he is cosmically rational, where we become humanly irrational, right? When we
Yeah.
get stuck on something, but
Yeah.
I want to do it this way. And it's like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
resistance is futile. You will do it this way. You
Yeah.
know?
And I'm like, but why do we have to wait for certain things? So,
Yeah.
and I'm in my mind then. But and I think my guy thinks, oh gosh, here she goes again. Another pointless discussion. Yeah.
We're measuring things from our human existence, and
Yeah.
the cosmos existence has no time.
No, and sometimes when I'm really in my mind, I want
Mm,
that discussion. I have
yes.
someone I need to complain about.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's always my guide. I'm
Yes.
sorry, guide, but you're the
That's what
only
they're there
one.
for. That's what they're there
Yeah.
for. For a long time, I had um, an African prince, Mr. Tibbs, that was there, and we
Oh,
moved to South Africa from England, and
yeah.
when I got there, I live in Canada, and the the indigenous people here are wonderful with their culture, but I've never felt a connection to it. Whereas when I went to
Hmm.
Africa with the African beat and the African rhythm, and then meeting Mr.
Oh,
Tibbs, the African prince, who was with me for a while, it
yeah.
just completely resonated with me that I was in that rhythm. And it's like, trust the rhythm that you're given, right? Trust the frequency and the vibration
Yeah.
that you ride in, because when you
Yeah.
do, it's a beautiful ride.
When you do, but sometimes we just know, no, I don't want that rhythm. I want it now.
Yeah. I want some punk rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
No. And I'm constantly drawn to the photo. Is it the painting of your dog?
Yes. Now,
I'm
actually,
constantly drawn to it.
this
And
was
I
a,
see two other dogs as well.
oh, yes, yes, there's been three of them, all border collies and my besties. And she was
Ah,
painted for me by another guest that I interviewed who was an artist. And she
that's
was going to
great.
give me a landscape. And at the end of it, she said, no, I have to paint your dog, who's gone 7 years. And I miss her, but I know she's still with me. I mean, she's such a soul bond. And she painted that painting for me, Kathy Knapp. And it's just something about her, like just seeing her like this is like she's not with me anymore, but she's still with me. And
Yeah.
it's just that reminder. So yes, it's
And you healed one another. That's
mm,
what my guide is saying. You
mm,
healed one another, the dog and the other two are still alive that I'm seeing,
no,
or
no,
they're
they're all
also
gone.
this, oh,
Yeah,
because I can see them in your energy, all
right.
three.
Well, they actually
Yeah.
all of them they chose me. Even though as a family we may have gone to
Yeah.
pick up a dog, their dog would come in and crawl into me. And that was
Wow.
her, and that was a couple of the other dogs, and it was there was most certainly a soul
Beautiful.
connection, which and I think
Mm.
that's the thing with animals. People are now seeing that look at the videos we see of animals today and what they're doing and how you'll see a dog raising chickens and things like that and little
Yeah, yeah,
chicklets and you look at it and go, well, you're meant to be enemies, and they go, no, no, this is, I don't see the difference, I feel the vibration.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the animals and the children are showing us different ways to look at things, different
yeah,
understandings. For them it's all frequency, right? It
yeah.
doesn't matter if you come in a different vessel. It's all
No,
frequency. What about your energy?
yeah. I can imagine that your dogs crawled inside of you. I would do the same because our energy speaks before we open our mouth.
Perceives this,
Yeah,
yes, it opens the
and
door before we open the door. Yeah.
yeah,
I found when I was young that my spiritual energy was too much for people. And so I was
yeah,
given a couple
can
of
be.
illnesses to bring me down. I was given asthma, which slowed me down, and then I was given fibromyalgia to slow me down
Mm,
because otherwise I was too much. And I probably still am for some
yeah,
people, but this is me
hmm,
dampened down because
yeah,
my spirit just wanted to embrace, and I could see the possibilities in people where they needed to
yeah,
go and and all of that. Did you have any of that? Did you have any things that slowed you down, or did they give you a nice pace?
yeah. It's a nice pace. Sometimes people say the opposite, like give me more, give me
Yeah.
more. So I have to find a middle ground in that
Mm.
because I like what you said, you can see the potential in
Hmm.
someone, but they have to bring it to the surface.
Yes.
We can do that. If we could, we would, So
Show them their possibilities, but they've got to walk it.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And some people have such a huge potential, and they say, I'm not good enough, I can't do anything. Um, and that makes me sad. And then when you tell them how their guides
Mm.
see them,
Yes.
they're in tears
Yeah.
because they never been told
No.
what they can do and the qualities they have and the gifts they have. Yeah, we have brilliant work.
Yeah. It's beautiful when they can
Yeah,
open someone up from the inside out and they see themselves for truly
yeah,
the essence of who they are and not
yeah,
the illusional expectation from outside. And,
yeah,
if somebody's
exactly.
lost, it's because they've tried to fit into the exterior, where
Yeah,
really, they were meant to embrace the interior.
yes, so true. And people, they come to us because they want to listen, they want to hear it. And sometimes, most clients, I have a clients for life. So I get to see them every 5 to 10 years. And then I see the transformation and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this is unbelievable. And I feel so blessed because the only thing I do is I repeat and the guides do the rest.
Mm.
So I feel so blessed to be able to do this work
You're
and
you're a
humble.
translator, right? A conduit translator.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, to witness these people
Mm.
on their paths. And it's just what a, I'm so grateful.
And of course,
Sometimes I'm so grateful I can cry. And that
yeah,
sounds maybe wobbly, but I
no,
feel so grateful. Yeah,
yeah, because you're in your truth. You're in
yeah,
your truth, doing what you were meant to be doing. You didn't have to
yeah,
fight and take different roads. You're there. You're living in
yeah,
that truth. And to see the difference when somebody switches on, when they become connected,
yeah,
when they open up and you just see that, it is
yeah,
so gratifying completely. But again, all we can do is share with people what we see for them,
yeah,
how we see them to be, what paths are in front of them.
yeah,
But you still got those people that come back to you and go, but it didn't happen. Did you walk it? You know, I showed you a
yeah,
map of all your
yeah,
possibilities, but if you didn't step up and didn't walk it, then how can those things come about? You've
yeah,
got to be willing to do the walk, and they kind of
yeah,
want you to walk it for them. No, no, no. I'm here just to give you the map, the
yeah,
possibilities for you to embrace. It's up to you to embrace them.
yeah. And it's I think it's logical. Some people need time to let go of what they're
Mm,
used to do. And that's familiar, even though it's if it's not what they want, it's still familiar.
yeah.
Um, so I always say to people, don't rush yourself. You will feel when the time is right to take certain steps. Yeah, but I listen to what you said. They say, and I'm not ready yet.
Hmm. But it's
Well, you
there,
will
it's
be.
planted. The
It's
seed is
planted
planted.
and you
Hmm.
will be, and maybe you will be ready in the next lifetime. Who
Yes.
knows? But life goes on and on. It's never ending.
Mm.
And
One of the things I say to people, and I remember saying it to my mum
yeah,
before she passed, let go of all the resentment, all the judgment, all the pain and the anguish. You do not want to relive this in another lifetime, because
yes,
then that's the baggage that that person is carrying and
yeah,
they don't even know why. So in this
yeah,
lifetime, forgive, forgive and release and
yeah,
step into that love. It doesn't
yeah,
mean you condone what happened, but if you forgive and release, that's for you
yeah,
so that you don't carry it forward. And it's really, really important in our lifetime that we let
yeah,
go of things and embrace the
yeah,
love within and the love without and not carry
yeah.
the burden of pain.
Yes, and even small things can make like the trolls on the internet when
Yes.
they said, oh, let's say something horrible.
Mm,
Even those kind of things, you don't want to come back
hmm.
and live another life and handle that.
No.
It's so easy to say, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want any karma.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Karma is a
Yeah.
big thing, folks.
Oh la
And
la. Yeah.
we do things in our life based on where we're at or what information we know at the time. And when we
Mm-hmm.
look back and go, oh my God, I wish I hadn't done that. And
Yeah.
it's like, forgive yourself because you did what you knew at the time. You know better
Yes.
now, so you know you'll never repeat that,
Yeah.
right? But don't get
Yeah.
hung up on the fact that you did that at that time. It's
Yeah.
who were you at that time with what knowledge? And
Mm-hmm.
now you are better. Embrace that.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. Ah, so true. Oh, I really hope that a lot of people can listen to you and hear your wisdom.
Your wisdom, my darling, your wisdom. This is what we're here for today, your wisdom. Um, it's we're just on the same page. And just hearing what you're saying is I just know I think for the people that have already stepped in to change it up and already in that,
Yeah.
24 is a great year for them to escalate to the next level. But as
Yes.
you said, we've still got to go through 25, 26, 27 of the other people where you're given the choice, chip and become
Yeah.
a robot or stand up and
Yeah.
rebel against. And then
Yeah.
we're going to start seeing more rebellion, which is not what I call pitchfork. It's not taking up arms,
Mm-hmm.
it's lifting up spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the pushback, the energetic pushback.
Yeah.
And so when things get really scary, like the chip,
Hmm.
then the pushback is like people say, I'm not going to do this because when I do this, then there's no way back for me. So they have to push back. There will be a pushback. But things have to get a little bit worse. But that's okay.
Hmm.
That's okay because then the pushback will happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When people I'm sick and tired and I can't take this anymore, right? And the
Yeah.
pushback
Yeah.
happens. So
Yeah.
that's the rebellion that I think is coming. They're rebelling
Yeah.
against the
Yeah.
control. And let's face it, right now they've got people in fear, fear and anger. When people are in fear and anger, they're not thinking for themselves, they're not thinking clearly. So now
Yeah.
you can manipulate them and pull the strings and tell them
Yeah.
how to feel and think. And when
Yeah.
the chip comes up, which now becomes a control of everything you do, everything that
Hmm.
you are, which in a lot of ways, through cell phones and things like this, they've already got Big Brother looking at us. But for me, it's like if you want to look at everything I do, I hope you learn something because I've got nothing to hide. And
Yeah.
if you're busy watching me, I hope that you're learning something that's going to
Yeah.
benefit you. But I think it's when we've just had enough and say, I just can't live in this pain anymore. I can't live in this anger anymore. I
Yeah.
don't want to be afraid anymore. I
Hmm.
want to take that journey to the sunny side of the street because those
Yeah.
people seem to be happy. How come they're happy and I'm not? What are they doing
Exactly.
differently?
Yeah. Yeah. Be an example for others.
Hmm.
And I am also expecting an internet blackout. Maybe they're gonna blame someone, maybe Putin or something. But there will be um, an internet blackout, I think for a week maximum.
Oh,
So we can handle that.
oh, a week, Mac, assisting I'm an onliner. Hopefully that it's only a short while. But I
It's a
think
short
actually,
while.
it's again a reset, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, do you remember
Yeah.
the millennium?
Yeah.
Like the world
Yeah.
was Y2K, everything was going to come to an end
Yeah.
because the computer wasn't set to accept the next millennium, and the
Yeah.
whole world was going to go to hell in a handbasket. And it's like
Yeah.
it came and it went and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think actually a blackout, it will affect the economy, of course, it will affect other things. But I think, as you said, we have to, when your computer's playing up, you reboot, right? You switch
Yeah.
everything off and you reboot and then get rid of viruses and get rid of things and just sometimes
Yeah.
when I don't know if it happened to you, but you write something and you're really happy with it and suddenly it disappears. And I go, oh,
Yeah.
shucks, I thought I saved that. Where did it go? And
Yeah.
then you have to rewrite it again. And actually, it was
It's
much
better.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea for everyone, and especially when they have young children, to just practice. Um, what should I do? What can I do when there's an internet blackout? My son said, "Well, I'm going to clean my room," and I'm like, "Yay, yay!
Hurry up, blackout.
That'll be
Um,
the day."
Well, we actually talk about this a lot on many of the shows where around children, how,
Yes.
occasionally looking at a phone, occasionally looking at a tablet, but not using it as babysitting, especially with young ones, because
Yeah.
it does change the neurological wiring of their
Yeah.
brain. It is a
Yeah.
form of brainwashing, and it
Yeah. Yeah.
stifles their creativity and their exploration,
Everything.
which is vital. So,
Yeah.
having a blackout for a while, yes, everybody take a holiday.
I think that it will be quite amazing, actually.
Mhm.
Wow.
Any
And
indication as to this year, next year?
I think this year, I think I could be wrong, but I have the feeling around the elections in America.
Ah, that makes sense.
What a coincidence.
Yes, exactly. Especially as somebody, loves to be on all the media. Kind of a week without them would be an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
But I think it will also affect voting and things like that.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Do you think it's actually a mistake, like they want to block something, but they go wrong and then they black out everything?
I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of people will be scared that they will never be on internet again or see their business crumble,
Yeah.
but it will be for a week or something. So that's fine.
It's actually a good
Mm.
warning for any industries is that don't be so reliant on putting everything up in the cloud that that you
Yeah,
have tangible backups for everything. So
exactly.
that if the internet goes
Yeah.
down and when it goes back up and you've lost things, you've got it. So back things up that are important to you.
And my partner, he has his whole house is done by apps. So I'm saying, you've got a problem if the internet goes down. You can't even turn on the light or the heater. Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Yes. This is something that people don't realize actually when they go to all this electronic stuff, which is all very nice. But yeah,
yeah,
what happens if the power goes out? And you see it again in Armageddon movies, and like nobody seems
yeah,
to know how to put the generator back on. And I never
yeah,
get that. It's like, well, you have all this knowledge, right? You could go
yeah,
and switch on energy again. Why is everybody in
yeah.
the dark ages? I don't understand.
No.
But I think
Yeah,
it's a wake up for us. That everybody's looking for that restart. They're looking for
yeah,
something catastrophic to happen, like COVID, that
yeah,
kind of jolts us and
yeah,
sets us off in a different direction. So
yeah,
if it's to be, that's fine,
yeah, yeah. We're ready for it.
right? Whatever's meant to be will be. Now,
Yeah.
how do people find you if they want to, A, get your book? Where do they get it? And also, if they want to come to you for a reading, what's the
Hmm.
process and how do they reach out to you, Hun?
Yeah, I have a website. It's barbarethemedium.com. And you can order my book there. And you can, I give email readings and phone readings. So that's several different kinds of reading, like soul readings or past life readings, mediumship readings. That's Barbara the Medium, all A's and one word, barbarethemedium.com. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, Barbara, themedium.com. You're also on
Yeah,
Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram,
yeah,
Psychic Medium, Barbara Psychic, or Barbara Psychic Medium's YouTube, which you have there as well. And
yeah,
of course, on your page, you've got, your book, The Psychic Trance Mediums, and everything that can do through that, spirit guides, um, the free ebook on healing, membership courses. It's all there. Whatever level you're at, you're there to help them, right? It's just, it doesn't matter where they're
yeah,
at. It's dip your toe in or jump right in, wherever you're at. But just start kind of moving forward because sometimes yes, I know I need to change. I know my life needs to change. I really want it to, but I don't know how or where to go. And you need somebody who can see that path and say, this is the path before you, because now it gives you the
yeah,
clarity to understand where you need to go. And that's the ability of a beautiful medium is just showing you what lays before you. And then for you to be engaged with it. It's up to you to make the engagement, but having that many a time. And can you read for yourself?
no,
No, nor I.
because sometimes I can, but often my fear or my wishful thinking
Yes.
is there. So
Yeah.
I cannot clear my mind for myself.
Yeah. No,
and read for myself.
I
This
have the same
I wish
problem
I
as
could.
well. I know. And I have to
Yeah, but
trust them and the guys, but sometimes you would just like to have the same type of reading that you're giving.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
exactly. With a timeline and everything, I give a
Yes,
timeline and I think, oh, but we need to learn too. And
yes,
if we could read for ourselves, we could skip the lessons. And
yes.
that's never
Yeah.
going to happen.
No, no, the
Never.
lessons are important. They
Yeah,
show us our strength, our resilience, our tenacity, our abilities, our calling. It's a
yeah,
revealer. And the more you're willing to go through it, the more it will reveal about you, and the more you will step into who you're meant to be and be that beautiful essence that the world needs.
yes. Amen.
So it is Barbara themedium.com. On Twitter, it's Barbara Psychic. On Instagram, it's BB Psychic Medium. And on YouTube, Barbara Psychic Medium. And Facebook, I'm not sure if it's under your name or not. Let's have a look. It's Barbara Psychic Mediums. So reach
Yeah,
out in any which way, but just take a look at her site. She offers so much. And if you want to just dip your toes in, dip your, like, I really would love a reading. I know I'm at a crossroads in life. I don't know where I'm going. Or, like just the whole repression of the world right now is getting to me, and I
yeah,
just don't know what I'm meant to do about it. Whatever your question mark is, Barbara's here for you to help you unravel what that question is and try and start to see the meaning behind it and the path that you're taking. And it may be that the first reading is only so much of that you need to know, and then you come back a few months later and it's like the next phase because you haven't been
yeah.
so over inundated. She can only reveal to you what you need to know in the now.
Well said. Well said. So true.
So thank you so much for today. This has been
Thank
wonderful. I
you.
love
It's been,
meeting
I'm
soul
full of
sisters.
energy. I'm
Yes.
full of energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
again,
pretty late here, but I feel like I just woken up.
oh gosh, oh no, I hope it
Really.
doesn't affect your sleep.
No, I'm fine.
Good, good. And it's wonderful to meet another, a soul sister that, gets it.
Yeah, yeah,
And, yes, we were born with it. This was our meaningful purpose to use it in any which way. But we're all born with the gift in somewhere inside of us. We've just got to ignite it. And having somebody that helps you, believe me, as being a reader and seeing readers, the wisdom and the knowledge. Um, like when I was told, I'm going to do something online that's going to change people's lives. At the time
yeah.
I was with the motor, I had no idea. I put that out of
Wow.
my mind until I stepped into this and started changing people's lives and realized
Yeah.
that path was already chosen for me. And so that it just helps you dive into it more because you're on the right path. And that's what you
Yes,
want to be,
exactly.
on the right path,
Yes,
right? Mhm.
yes.
So thank you so
Great.
much, Barbara. And to everyone else
Thank
out
you.
there, don't be afraid. I promise you, the waters are wonderful. Step into this beautiful spiritual essence. It is absolutely fabulous. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.